अस्सलाम वालेकुम। दूसरा रुख के साथ मैं हूं सैयद समर अब्बास। नाजरीन, पाक अफगान ताल्लुकात जो गुज़िश्ता कई अरसे से कशीदा हैं, इन ताल्लुकात में पाई जाने वाली कशीदगी में गुज़िश्ता हफ्ते उस वक्त इजाफा हुआ जब चमन बॉर्डर के करीब वाक़ इलाके किली लुकमान और किली जहांगीर के इलाकों में पाकिस्तान की जानिब से सेंसस यानी मरदमशुमारी करने वाली टीम को अफगान फोर्सेज ने निशाना बनाया, जिसके नतीजे में 12 कीमती जानें पाकिस्तानी साइड पर ज़ाया हुई, जबकि 40 से ज़ायद अफराद ज़ख्मी हुए। इस वाक़े के बाद बॉर्डर पर ताल्लुकात बदस्तूर कशीदा हैं और जिसकी वाज़ेह मिसाल यह है कि चमन बॉर्डर अभी तक दोबारा नहीं खोला जा सका। सवाल ये पैदा होता है कि अफगानिस्तान मौसर बॉर्डर मैनेजमेंट से क्यों गुरेज़ा है, दोनों जानिब एतमाद का फुकदान क्यों है और अफगान अमल में पाकिस्तान अब मजीद क्या किरदार अदा कर सकता है। इसी पर बात करने के लिए हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं पाकिस्तान में मुतय्यन अफगानिस्तान के सफीर डॉक्टर उमर ज़खीरवाल साहब। एक्सीलेंसी, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर गिविंग टाइम इन द शो। Starting with the last week unfortunate incident at the Chaman border, where would you put the unfortunate incident of Chaman border firing taking place last week? Was it a direct result of poor border management or inaction of Afghan forces purely based on haste and miscalculation?
Well, you rightly called it unfortunate. It indeed was unfortunate. Of course, we have our side of the story. That is, we believe that the area to which the Pakistani Fauj had entered was on the other side of the Iran line and therefore inside the Afghan territory. But the belief on this side is to the contrary. So in such situation, particularly when there is prior communication of disagreement, then the proper way to do is to take the other side into confidence through discussions, through meetings. Meeting something that, of course, the Afghan side never has shied away from. But in fact, even for this case and for other cases along the Iran line that could turn into such unfortunate incidents, we are for interaction and discussion. Now, I'm not going to dwell too much on it. The positive side is that we were able to quickly get a hold of it. We got involved, of course, the very same day that the clash broke out, so that it doesn't escalate further, that it doesn't lead to any further loss of lives. You will be astonished to hear that the whole cessation of fire, the discussion as well as the cessation of fire between us in Pakistan took less than 15 minutes.
But there are two main points that need to be explained. One thing is that the areas Kili Lukman and Kili Jahangir, the residents of both of these areas, they are wearing Pakistani national identity cards.
Yes.
So these are the Pakistani nationals. And the second thing, they have Pakistani electricity connections from the Pakistani side. And the other thing is that Pakistani authorities claim that they priorly informed to the Afghan authorities before conducting the census.
Let me respond to all three of your points. Afghanistan was without state for many, many years. There are many villages along the Iran line which, for need of cars, in need of passports, have accepted offers from Pakistan to receive ID cards. So it doesn't mean that those are Pakistani villages. When we talk about the Iran line, it is pre-1979 line that should be respected. After 79, there are incursions that have happened. There are villages along this line, of course, that has received, who would refuse electricity if you offer it to them. So our side has accepted electricity, so that doesn't give Pakistan the right to claim that because it has Pakistani electricity, that is Pakistani land, because people are holding Pakistani ID cards, that is Pakistani. It's not only there. In my province, in Nangarhar as well, there are villages which, of course, there are many, many Afghans, perhaps in tens of thousands, who are in Saudi Arabia, in Middle East, in other places, who are holding Pakistani passports, which they are Afghans. But they were in need of it, and Pakistan was offering them, or they were, for example, interested, and they got on them. So by that, we could not draw the conclusion that these are Pakistani villages. And second in that, just because the Pakistan side informed doesn't mean that automatically that information is enough. No, we need to be convinced that this is a Pakistani territory. So therefore, our response was not to carry out the survey. This was clearly communicated, that let allow, particularly military to military meetings, to determine whether this is on that side of the border.
Pakistani authorities claim that they held the process for 2 to 5 days.
You cannot, something that has not happened for, let's say, since Pakistan's independence, why should it be such in a haste? That is a haste, that you want to do something in 5 days. Why? That's what I would call a haste. Not allowing interaction to determine, in meetings to determine which side is on which, that's I would call a haste. But gladly we are doing that. Yesterday there was a very good meeting that took place at the GHQ. There's now an agreement that the process that we've already agreed upon will be adhered to, and that we will be resolving not only these issues, there are many other spots which are potentially, of course, have could be triggering. So that before these things happen, we should be regularly meeting and trying to avoid such incidents.
You reacted sharply to Pakistan IGFC's claim of killing 50 Afghan soldiers in retaliation by saying the actual number of casualties was just 2.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be better that the Afghan army should have responded instead of Afghan ambassador jumping onto the fray, since it could complicate things further in this environment of acrimony?
No. First of all, I have the best of relationship here with all the institutions. My role is quite very clear. That is a very constructive role that I'm playing. I had an instrumental role in the facilitation, in encouragement of interaction between Afghanistan and Pakistan at a time that was very difficult. The recent visit by the high-powered parliamentary delegation to Kabul, I have a very central and key role in that. And I work on a certain step of progress for months and months. And when that happens, when these type of incidents happen, to backtrack us, of course, I'm disappointed and all that. And I'm the one from Afghanistan who you have free access to. So a message needs to be crossed, and I was better positioned to communicate that message than anybody else. So I communicated, because that was a claim that was not accurate. And gladly it was not accurate, because the loss of 50 lives would have been tremendous, and it would not have been easier for us if there were 50 lives for us to be sitting and talking to each other and to resolving, to find our solution through talks.
As you mentioned that a parliamentary delegation visited Kabul a week before this incident. Also, the Pakistani military delegations also visited Afghanistan for the peace process and to bridge the gaps. But analysts in Pakistan, they believe that whenever there are developments in bridging the gaps between the two countries, something happens that spoils the whole process. So why this happens whenever?
Well, you look into each incident and go to the cause of it, as to what triggered it, and then find their source and ask their source.
But it was triggered by the Afghan forces?
It wasn't. You see, it was this side that went into an area that we did not expect that they would go into, because there is a claim that that village belongs to the Afghan side. So even if that claim of ours, we strong believe, at the end turns out not to be true, let's allow then the discussion to take place. A unilateral action in moving in on this, that's what the provocative thing is. That's what causes things, my brother.
But the trench you are talking about, the Afghan claims, that is far into the Pakistani territory. That is not the border, basically.
Well, that's what you are saying. That's what you are saying, on the basis of what you say that.
Pakistan claims, Pakistan authorities claim that the trench is not the ultimate border.
Well,
it was made just to stop
exactly.
movement, cross-border movement.
But that's Pakistan's claim. That's not what we agreed to. That's why there is need for talks. That claim is discussed. You know, it would not be, you see, there is a village and people live there. It would not be too difficult to determine whether 20, 30, 40 years ago that village was on that side or on this side. I'm not talking about what has happened in the past 15, 20 years. Pre-79, let's be clear about that. Because after 79, where we had this was a lawless state, nothing. So things have happened. That is not acceptable for us if things have shifted or, Pakistani posts have moved into that. That's absolutely not acceptable to us. For us, pre-79, line of Durand, that is the line that we're talking about.
So moving on, what lessons are to be learned out of the Chaman border incident? Have things gone from worst to worst, or both sides are moving in the right direction? As you talked to Sartaj Aziz last week.
I think we are moving in the right direction. We're using these as opportunities to avoid mistakes in the future. I think past 1 year has seen a lot of mistakes, and I think a lot of learning has happened on both sides from these. I think we are into a stronger position. 2016 was probably the worst year in terms of bilateral relations. We would want to see 2017 differently. I do hope and expect that it will be seen differently. Just prior to Chaman, these important visits happened. And after Chaman, there are visits taking place from Kabul. And we do expect that more important visits from Kabul will take place to Islamabad. And that's how we should be moving forward. I think Chaman is already behind us. So that's a positive thing. Previously, not so quickly we have turned around and put sort of an incident, an unfortunate incident, just behind us for the sake of moving forward. I think with Chaman is an example of good management, post incident good management. I say
that's why Pakistan has been pressing for the effective border management. Had there been effective border management, this incident would not have occurred. Why Afghanistan is reluctant for this effective border management?
You see, we have a lot of issues between us. We have a lot of issues between us. What we are proposing is responding to a host of issues, not just the one point of issue that only Pakistan is interested in. We are interested in as how the Taliban who are operating out of Pakistan territory could be stopped, how their movement could be restricted, how their leaders could not be guiding the war from here. So these are our grievances. Pakistan also has grievances with respect to, let's say, TTP, to be very frank. They have concerns about India's role in Afghanistan and we should be responding to that. There is trade issues for no reasons. All of a sudden, crossing routes stop. There's an incident happens here, but Turkham is closed. An incident happened there, and still Boldak has happened. So these are the things. These are our issues. That's why it's a host of issues that we want to get involved in. But we are not shying away from discussion. In fact, we are pushing for meetings, pushing for issues to be brought to table, and we are against unilateral action.
But there is a counter argument why Afghan Taliban would seek safe havens in Pakistan, as more than 60%, around 70% of the area in Afghanistan is ungoverned. Why would they seek hostage in Pakistan?
But they are, so you tell me.
And Pakistani authorities they are open. They are saying, just name the place where they are hiding. Tell us the place where they are hiding. We will operate.
I think in my previous interviews I've said that it's no longer a news. It's no longer a news. I said it this morning. I had a meeting with some journalists. I said it's no longer a news whether the Taliban leadership is present in Pakistan, because they are. They are in Peshawar, they are in Quetta, they travel freely between Peshawar and other cities, Quetta and other cities. They have addresses, there are madrasas there. So we're not saying this to get headlines out of it, because that is a fact.
But now, why would they seek refuge in Pakistan? Well, 70%, my argument, I would still repeat my argument that 70% of the area in Afghanistan is ungoverned. Ashraf Ghani doesn't have it out of Kabul. So why would they seek refuge in Pakistan?
They are. The fact is, okay, you tell me. I said it another day. I ask you, the previous leader of Taliban was killed. Where was he killed? You tell me.
He was basically...
Where?
At that time,
you ask me why, I ask you why. Where was he?
He was traveling from Iran.
What was he carrying?
He was traveling from Iran.
What document was he carrying?
He was traveling from Iran.
And
those days, peace talks were going on. Peace talks were going on with Afghanistan.
Come on. What passport was he carrying?
Whatever.
How many countries had he, how many times he
Wasn't that
traveled?
Iranian? Wasn't that Iranian?
No, it was Pakistani passport.
He was also having an Iranian passport.
No, he was not. He had a Pakistani ID, he had a Pakistani passport. That's one. The current leader of Mullah Hibatullah, just before he was so important that he became immediately after his death. He became the leader of Taliban. Just the day before, where was he? In Kuchlak, Quetta. You have newspapers in Karachi, which in Ishtihar puts his name in the Starbandi events a month prior to that. So he travels freely, and he was a prominent member of the Taliban Shura.
But now after Operation Zarb-e-Azb, and
this was way
they
after,
are on the run. They are on the run. The things have changed.
No, this was way after Zarb-e-Azb. This happened last year. This was way after Zarb-e-Azb. This was last year I'm talking about. Taliban leader killed on May 21st, 2016, less than a year ago. That leader was replaced. Where did he live? Just the day before he was in Kuchlak. Where was that meeting convened where he was raised to the leadership? In Quetta, my brother. So you're asking me.
But now they are on the run. They are on the run. They have seeking. They are not seeking refuge in Afghanistan as they have moved out of Pakistan after the operation Zarb-e-Azb and Radul Fasad was launched inside Pakistan. Let me take a break. A break here. The discussion will continue. नाज़रीन जहाँ एक break लेंगे. Break के बाद अफगान सफीर से हमारी गुफ्तगू जारी रहेगी. हमारे साथ रहिएगा. Excellency, last time UK had to mediate between Afghanistan and Pakistan to reopen the Chaman border after the closure of 35 days in March. Do you foresee another diplomatic intervention this time as the Chaman border still remains closed?
The meeting in UK was not about the opening of these routes.
But
the meeting led
to the reopening of the border.
It did. It was more about agreement on a mechanism, which we hope that we implement. I don't think we need any third country's intervention. We have not asked for it. We will not ask for it. The opening of the trading routes is important as much to Pakistan, in fact, even more so than it is to us, because we import from Pakistan. So Afghanistan is Pakistan's market. So if that is closed, you lose that market. Your traders suffer. So my expectation, hope is that Chaman will open.
It will open soon?
Yeah, inshallah.
Now, moving on to the cooperation between the two countries on counter-terrorism efforts, what steps has Afghanistan taken in response to a list of 76 terrorists handed over to Afghanistan by Pakistani authorities in February this year, who are believed to be operating from the Afghanistan soil, including Mullah Fazlullah and the Jamaatul Ahrar top brass?
Yes, there was, you should not forget that there was also a list that was given to Pakistan. Also of of Taliban leaders, shadow governors who have houses here, of madrasas that the Afghan Taliban run here that are used for recruitment and training and mentoring and all that. And the London, you did mention the London, one of the elements that we agreed upon is that both countries are committed to taking actions on those lists.
But that, Excellency, does not absolve you of taking your responsibilities from
it doesn't absolve Pakistan either, does it?
But those who have been doing terrorist activities in Pakistan, they have been claiming they are hiding in Afghanistan.
You said
Mullah Fazlullah and the top brass of the Jamaatul Ahrar.
Earlier you said something which I said it was exaggerated, that a large portion of our land was not controlled by us. What percentage you said it wasn't?
Nearly 70%.
Oh, you said 70%. Let me accept your 70%, which is, of course, is an exaggerated view. So if 70% of land is not controlled by us, why should you be expecting that we should be effective in responding to those elements that are in that area? And how much of land is not controlled by you? Your land.
The whole Pakistan?
The whole Pakistan is under your control. So we have more of an expectation because you are in control of your land and we are not. That you should be taking steps against the elements.
We have been taking steps that have been recognized by the America. Recently, the American senators and their resolute support mission chief visited Pakistan.
Let's not. It has not been by anybody. But name me one Taliban commander or leader who's been arrested, who's been detained, who's been killed.
There have been scores of
fugitives have been killed. Tell me one.
Scores of fugitives have been killed.
Tell me one prominent, and I'll name you quite a few.
Scores of leaders happened. Ihsan recently he surrendered to the Pakistani army.
That was the TTP. That was TTP, the Afghan Taliban, the Haqqani network. Just name me one.
Mullah brother in 2009.
2009, where is he? Has he been handed over to us? And the Peshawar Public Guard.
But he remains in Pakistani authorities' custody.
Come on.
He is not opening. He is not moving freely like. He is not moving freely like Mullah Fazlullah.
Mullah Ibatullah is more freely, like everybody in controlling in his leadership. Where is Mullah Fazlullah? Mullah Fazlullah, Afghanistan, you yourself said that a large swath of land is not our control. Wasn't everybody that was involved in Peshawar Army School either arrested and handed over Pakistan or killed in Afghanistan? Weren't they?
Name one.
Omar Khalifa, the leader, the mastermind.
Was he killed by the Afghan authorities?
Yeah, of course, wasn't he? The guys who were responsible for the Peshawar attack were handed over or hanged here. Huh? Latif Masood, the deputy of Baitullah Masood, wasn't he handed over to Pakistan? Now, you name one. Just give me a name.
So can we expect Mullah Fazlullah to be handed over as well?
Is he a sitting duck there with us? If we get him, we'll kill him and you will know.
Just the way that in Afghanistan.
Where in Afghanistan? That's your perception, my brother. You couldn't name a single person, and I named quite a few.
What was the reason behind the MOU for intelligence sharing between the two armies, between Pakistan and Afghanistan?
Which MOU?
The MOU of intelligence sharing that was to be signed in 2014. Pakistan suspects that the MOU was allegedly shared with India to India's advantage.
My brother, I could certainly get into that debate and discussion, but I'm more forward-looking person. I'm not focused on 2014. I'm not focused on 2015. I'm not focused on 2016. I'm focused on 2017 and beyond. There are things between us, and we need to find a path forward.
How different is 2017 from 2015 or 2014?
The difference is that we've seen that non-cooperation, non-response to our grievances, as much as it harms us, to a certain extent it harms you as well. We've seen that our security is interdependent. We've seen that Pakistan has not benefited from the turmoil in Afghanistan a bit, but to the contrary. And that Afghanistan will not benefit from any harm that is inflicted upon you by terrorist elements. And we know that the way for us, for permanent peace in this region, in our countries, economic development and all that, is for us to find a way forward, to find a path forward, to remove the grievances. Some of them are real and some of them are based on misperceptions, and have a trusting relationship. So that's what I'm focused, my brother, on. I'm not focused on the past.
What is holding Ashraf Ghani back from visiting Pakistan? Can he visit Pakistan this year, or he's expecting something else from Pakistan to be done?
He was here last year. Last December he was here. An invitation was extended to him by the Honorable Speaker. And what he said is, the last visit was made by him, so it was Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's turn to visit Kabul. And then when he visits Kabul, he will be happy to come to
There were some forums where he was supposed to visit, he was supposed to attend ECO summit, there was SARC summit.
Yeah, but there were at the time, the environment was not ready. The environment was, we had, at the time of the ECO, there was shelling into Afghanistan, the crossing points between the two countries has stopped, so we were not in a...
So if you will not indulge in talks, so how would these issues be resolved?
That's the precisely opposite that I've been saying to you from the beginning of this interview, that Afghanistan, the only way forward is for us to talk. So why do you suggest that we are not indulging in talks?
So there is a precondition that if Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif visits Kabul,
it's not a
then Ashraf Ghani would be visiting Pakistan for the talks.
You see, nothing hinges on his visits. Nothing hinges on visit. Of course, we would want to see more of those visits. It hinges on institutional to institutional relations, on their engagement, and on their finding a path forward in working together to really respond to these threats. Threats that's threatening your security and ours as well. So it hinges on that.
Okay, नाज़रीन यहाँ एक ब्रेक लेते हैं. ब्रेक के बाद हम बात करेंगे कि दाइश जो कि अफगानिस्तान से एक खतरा बहुत बड़ा दुनिया के लिए एमिनेट हो रहा है, कितना बड़ी थ्रेट है ये अफगानिस्तान के लिए और नेबरिंग कंट्रीज़ के लिए, इस पर बात होगी एक छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद. Welcome back. Excellency, how enormous is the threat of IS emerging out of Afghanistan? Though US did drop mother of all bombs in Nangarhar on April 13 to basically dismantle the IS stronghold, is there still a lot more to be done on the ground to curb this menace in Afghanistan?
It's not that big a threat, but it can emerge into a threat, into a serious threat, if the mistrustful environment is there. And that's why we need to take it jointly seriously. It's not just Daesh. You know, Daesh came out of nowhere in the past few years. Tomorrow, some other group calling something else may emerge and could be a serious threat to you and to us. And that's why we need to really get our acts together and create an environment in which these elements cannot operate. The good news, at least on Daesh, is that there is very close cooperation between Pakistan and Afghanistan. In fact, yesterday there was a meeting on Daesh, a trilateral meeting, Afghanistan, Pakistan in the US at GHQ, and it was a good meeting. There's good progress that we've made. We killed both leaders. Hafiz Saeed was the first leader, and now the second leader of Daesh has been now eliminated. Most senior commanders of Daesh have been killed. So this is a good news, not only for us, but for you as well, because there are Daesh terrorist attacks that were carried out, particularly the one in Karachi and also in Lahore, that were claimed by Daesh.
There are concerns that IS presence in Afghanistan is strengthening the nexus between Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Is that true? I
don't know. I'm not a terrorist expert, but Daesh is potentially serious. Currently, it is not. I think it is on the verge of elimination. Hopefully, particularly if we, like I said, closely cooperate, it would be extremely difficult for the Daesh to operate. They are culturally unfit in our region. So the example in Syria and all of that, everybody's aware of that, and of course, it's considered the biggest threat by ordinary people, and therefore, in Afghanistan, as much as we, the government forces, are fighting Daesh, the local people are also fighting Daesh for them. So we are not currently too concerned about it, but like I said.
So you believe that IS is not the biggest threat as compared to the Al-Qaeda? Al-Qaeda and Taliban. Taliban are the biggest threat for Afghanistan, not IS.
What do I say? We take it as serious. We certainly take it serious, but it's not at the level by which we are threatened right now, but I say potentially serious. But Taliban, of course, is a lethal force against us.
You buy the argument that Russia is supporting Taliban to curb, basically to counter the IS in Afghanistan. Is that true that Russia is supplying arms to Taliban to counter the threat of IS in Afghanistan?
If I am not myself have seen the evidence, it would be difficult for me to say yes, or it would be difficult for me to say no. I hope they're not doing it. It would make little sense if they're doing it. I think it would be harmful to them as well if they're doing it. So therefore, I cannot really say.
So much. You're hoping, you are not sure about it?
I'm not sure, but because I don't have the information.
Last but not the least, what is the way forward in the Afghan peace process? Peace process, and how do you see the role of Pakistan? As you mentioned on Thursday, that Pakistan is the best country that can play the best role in Afghan peace process.
Absolutely, because Pakistan has been very closely involved with the Afghan situation. The elements that are fighting in Afghanistan do have roots here. If not, let's say, if even we put the support element aside, you know, these Taliban have graduated from madrasas and all that, so those connections are there. So the same relationship that were used for that generated grievances could also be used positively. And those influences and pressures, if applied, I think could contribute to stability and peace. And stability and peace could also respond very positively to remove the grievances or perceptions or misperceptions that you have in Afghanistan. So our hope is that moving forward with very candid discussion, the reason that I'm very candid with you, the same candidness I have with Pakistani leadership, is not to bash Pakistan, not to get into a blame game. But if we are not open and candid, my brother, we will...
Do you believe that Pakistan can play the key role in bringing the peace in Afghanistan and making the peace process successful in Afghanistan?
I think Pakistan could play a very constructive role. I do hope that it does play a constructive role in pushing for peace. Not only for us, for you as well. As an important national interest of Pakistan should be peace and stability in Afghanistan. It will absolutely make no sense otherwise. And that's our hope. That's how gladly most of the leadership in Pakistan sees that. That's how people of Pakistan see that. But that's what we hope, that who are in charge of Pakistan policies vis-a-vis Afghanistan also see it that way.
Concluding note, can we see Pakistan and Afghanistan cricket teams or the Peshawar Zalmi cricket team playing a match with Afghanistan as a CBM basically? You have been heading the Afghan Cricket Board as well.
When I was the chairman of Afghanistan Cricket Board, I organized 2 games between the national team of Pakistan and Afghanistan in Sharjah. I hope that we have one in Lahore or in Peshawar or in Islamabad. I had a very nice discussion with Shahryar Khan when I was visiting Lahore. He agreed to it. I haven't yet had, because I got busy with these other stuff, had the chance, but I certainly will be pushing for an event, a cricket event. It will be great actually to see it here, our national team coming, and we have a stadium pack of people, cheering each other and playing the cricket, and making that as an example for the rest of our relations.
Thank you so much, Excellency, for joining us.
Absolutely a pleasure, my brother.
It was a pleasure having you in the show. नाज़रीन, आपने तफसीली गुफ्तगू सुनी अफगान सफ़ीर डॉक्टर उमर ज़खिलवाल की, और ये उम्मीद करते हैं हम भी कि पाकिस्तान और अफगानिस्तान के दरमियान ताल्लुकात आने वाले दिनों में बेहतरी की जानिब जाएंगे। आज के शो में इतना ही, इजाज़त दीजिए, अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।